I gotta say also, like, what percentage of people would you say smoked in Japan?
Nani?
I mean, I guess percentage-wise, it's hard to say, but
What do you think?
way more than here in the U.S. For sure.
Yeah, per capita, yeah.
I would say so.
Probably
So, I mean,
120%. Everybody smoked.
Right.
Everybody
But
smoked.
I mean, when we hung out, everybody smoked.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, and you know, you can smoke inside. You can, you know, certain things started changing. Like offices, by the time I worked there, you couldn't smoke inside, so
You
they
have
had
to go outside, yeah. Little
or they had like the
smoking
little
room. Yeah.
smoking rooms, yeah. But before that, up until I don't know, 80s, 90s, I'm not sure. I guess we can check that for
No, even 2000s, man. People used to smoke on JR platforms while waiting the train. Brian was smoking too.
Oh yeah, well, is that not like that anymore?
Now then they kind of like kinshi. Let's not smoke. You have to go to the end, both ends of the platform.
I see,
and
I
they
see.
have a little smoking spot, and nobody wanted
Right.
to go there. People were still like smoking for like how many, I don't know, till people got used to things. Then after
Right.
that, it was like kanzen kinshi. Then I think it became now let's make like smoking rooms or smoking booth or like
Right.
something like that.
Yo, those are ruthless.
Yeah, but then you
You sit in one of those with a smoker and like you're done.
yeah, karaoke
Like,
boxes. You
Well,
go
'cause
to
it has a-
karaoke boxes like hot boxing with smoke.
Yeah, it is. It is like a karaoke. Well, these they have like a filtering system, right?
Yeah,
But,
which is
you know-
which is pretty much dead all the time. It's all yellow.
Yeah, it doesn't work as well as you'd want it to, or at least in my experience. I guess it could be bad. Like I remember when I went to the publisher, they had a whole floor for me with those rooms. You know, it's just glass. It was cool. It was just like all the walls were glass, so you could see, you know, who's inside. So you'd see like which rooms are open for meetings, and those were meeting rooms where
Right.
people from outside would come in, and they wouldn't go up to the floors where the publisher, like the editors, like the publishing houses are, like, you know, like morning, evening, morning to, like all those different ones. Like each magazine has their own floor in their department. But maybe when you're like a first-time artist, you don't even get to go up there. They just go to one of those rooms,
It's like
right?
one of those like Mortal Kombat, you know, the battle, the challenge.
Yeah, you got to
thing.
fight your way up the levels, man. So
Spartan X.
yeah, and there's that. That's one of the reasons for going to those rooms. It's just, you know, it's people that have like a whatever meeting. Actually, Jimmy was there. Dude, the first time I went
Oh,
to
yeah, you told me.
I
Oh,
went to
yeah,
Japan,
yeah.
I didn't know where he's at Kodansha in one of those things, and I'm walking by, and Jimmy's wearing a suit like he's all Sarariman style. Dude, out of nowhere, I hadn't told anybody I was going because the first time I went, I'm like, let me not tell anybody, because if I completely fail,
Then it's
at
gonna
least
be like
everybody isn't like, you stupid So
I knew it.
I didn't tell anybody. Yeah, I knew it. I didn't tell anybody, and then I was like, okay, let me just take care of business, try to get the chance to publish and stuff, and then like once I know I got it in the bag, then I'll let people know, and I'll be like, yo, I'm going to Japan.
Yeah, right.
So I didn't tell anybody, and then the first day I go to Kodansha, I remember I wore a suit too, because like, well, I'd heard, and actually an ex-girlfriend told me, she said, oh, you know, like it's, you know, wear a suit because that's like, it means you're serious, you know, and like they'll really appreciate that.
right.
You know, especially you being Gaijin and not knowing shit. You wear a suit, they're like, hey, this guy,
Extra
you know.
point.
right. So I wore a suit, and so that kind of threw Jimmy off for a second. You know, so like I went in there, but also back then, I mean, now there's way more foreigners in Japan than there were when we were there. So, you know, like I think foreigners were 1% in Japan when I was there in like 2000, from 2008 to 2012. And that included Asian foreigners too. It wasn't just Westerners. So there were way less Westerners if you're also putting in people from Korea, Thailand, China, you know. So you kind of stood out a lot more, I think, than probably now. And so Jimmy saw me, and then I'm walking, and I'm like, that looks like Jimmy. And then he was just like, Nani? Because it's like, why would I be in Japan?
Right.
Like, and why would I be at Kodansha?
Kodansha too.
That's crazy, right? So
in a suit too.
In a suit, right? So he's just like, and so I'm just meeting like my editor there, and I'm there with my agent, and then I see Jimmy, and so I'm like having a brain short circuit because I'm like, hajimemashite, yoroshiku onegaishimasu, and then I'm looking at Jimmy. And then he comes up, and then I'm like, Los Angeles no tomodachi. And they're just like, how the hell does this guy know people in Japan? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So I talked to Jimmy, and it was really short because I had to go to the meeting. So I'm like, yo, what's up? He's like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, oh no, like I'll give you a call, like, because I had their info and stuff. I'm like, I had their info in Japan. So I'm just like, no, like I got a meeting, like I might work here, I don't know, like, but I'll talk to you later. So that was it. Like then Jimmy got home, he told Brian, he told everybody. So everybody knew. So then I couldn't, no secret there anymore. But he was coming out of one of those rooms with the smoking thing.
Oh.
And sometimes you'd have like I would usually go up to like the morning department and I would sit there and like, but sometimes you'd have editors or people that wanted to talk about other stuff because they would ask me like, oh, well, you're American, like help us out with these series. Like what's like the American way to say this or like what's a sound effect in English or those type of things, right? So sometimes some of these editors were like avid smokers.
Oh, yeah.
And so they would be like, hey, like how about instead of meeting here, why don't we go downstairs to meet? And I'm just like,
okay, yeah.
And yo, you're sitting in there and they're just like,
yeah.
You're there like 2 hours just talking about stuff.
We always talk about these Japanese meetings too. It's a smoking kaikai.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
let's see who can do the most damage, dude.
Yeah, man. Like I smoke too, but like I feel bad for myself
as a smoker.
Yeah. Just like, like secondhand smoking is real. And it was crazy, man. Like people, that's one thing. I think a lot of foreigners before they go to Japan, because from outside they look at Japan as like, oh, squeaky clean, sushi, ramen,
right,
land of the rising sun, Akihabara, all that stuff. One thing, like. Off the bat, when they go to Japan, when they get to Japan, actually, they be like, oh my God, everybody smokes.
Yeah.
Everybody smokes.
Yeah. It's kind of like Argentina for me. Like, I was like, oh, this is like
China
back
too.
in Buenos Aires.
China, Korea. That's the thing about, I guess, maybe California, especially.
People are...
You pull out a cigarette, then everybody's, oh my God, you smoke. Yo, go to Japan. Like, or like go outside of California. You see how everything you think it was like, oh my God, like this and that. It doesn't mean shit outside of that world, man.
Yeah.
Go to, especially in Japan, smoking. All gaijins. That's one thing I noticed was that drama I was talking about, Tokyo Vice.
Oh, word. I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, this gaijin girl tells this like new gaijin who just got to Tokyo. It's like, oh, do you smoke? And he's like, no, I don't smoke. And she's like, yeah, you will. And after a few episodes, this dude, that's his thing. He's like, this gaijin kid keeps smoking. Like, that's his default setting.
Is that his stress relief, or he just picked it up and that's it?
No, that's just a habit. He just turned into a Japanese dude, and just like a cigarette all the time.